Week 16, NFL Power Rankings. Let's go. Number 32, Jacksonville Jaguars. So on Sunday, the Jaguars went into New Jersey and took on the Jets and facing one of the worst defenses on the face of the fucking planet. Both the Jaguars and the Jets are combined 5-23, both terrible teams. So this leads to an opportunity where both teams can just open up and just play. Nothing to lose. Trevor Lawrence has an opportunity to play freely. Play fearlessly. Take some chances. Grow a little bit. Nah. Just like every other fucking week, Trevor Lawrence looks like shit. This was Trevor Lawrence's 15th start of his career. And the man from Clemson, the man that's going to rock the NFL world once he gets here, still has less than 10 touchdown passes. He's averaging one touchdown pass every just over 6 quarters. Let's call it 6 quarters. So what that means is if he plays 3 games, he's got 2 touchdown passes. That's a joke. A rookie with this much hype surrounding him should be putting up better numbers than this. I've been saying it all season long. This dude is not progressing. He's getting worse and worse each week. Number 31, Carolina Panthers. So on Sunday, the Panthers played the Buccaneers. While the Buccaneers played football, the Panthers played a little game called Which of My Shitty QBs Can Be More Shitty? Cam Newton, Sam Darnold, arguably 2 of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. Both of them proved so ridiculously ineffective, and the Panthers were booed off their own field by their fans. Now, head coach Matt Rule kind of shrugged this off like it happens. Bro, you're about to lose your job, man. That was not the right answer. It's only a matter of time before Christian McCaffrey says, yo, I need the fuck out of here. Number 30, Detroit Lions. All right, Sunday. Lions playing the Falcons. Lions are down 20-13 and have the ball and moving it pretty well. With 2.5 minutes left, the Lions found themselves in a 4th and 5 situation. Bro, you're 2-11-1. Fucking go for it. Go for the touchdown. No, Dan Campbell chooses to kick a field goal to make it 20-16 in hopes that his defense will stand and they'll get the ball back. You guys were in good position there. You should have just went for the touchdown. Be aggressive, man. Show some balls. Well, the Lions did get the ball back. And down by 4, they started marching down the field again. Before their quarterback, Joe Who's Your Mama, what? It was like Tim Boyle or something. He threw an interception to seal the game. Why wouldn't Dan Campbell go for the touchdown on that initial drive? I'll tell you why. It's all about that draft position, baby. Why would they want to win this game? They're only a half a game up or down, depending on your perspective, on the Jaguars. People don't want to talk about that, but it's a real thing. Number 29, New Jersey Giants. So when you're 4-10 and have been eliminated from the playoff, you can afford to give a young QB his first ever start. And that's what they did on Sunday. Jake Fromm got the start against the Eagles for the Giants. And he did absolutely nothing. Now, I think it was last week I talked about Justin Fields and how I liked him from the show QB1, Beyond the Lights. Well, Jake Fromm falls into that same category. I enjoyed him on that show. I was actually really happy that the Bills drafted him. For what purpose? Because they had Josh Allen? No clue, but I was still happy. So I was rooting for Jake Fromm to do well here. And I believe he only had like 25 passing yards. It was terrible. So the Giants went back to Mike Glennon. That's a solid idea. Yeah, so the Giants were completely dominated. Jake Fromm, Mike Glennon, it don't matter. The Giants made the Eagles look like a Super Bowl contender. Joe Judge is going to need these final 2 weeks to show something, some kind of life, if he's hoping to keep his job in New Jersey. Number 28, Chicago Bears. In snowy Seattle on Sunday, the Bears trailed the entire game. And newly appointed starter Nick Foles struggled the majority of the game. Now that was to be expected. When was the last time this man threw a football? But with less than 3 minutes to go, the Nick Foles that we all know and love appeared. And he marched the Bears right down the field and got a touchdown on 6 plays. The Bears then opted to go for 2 for the win rather than tying the game. Because why not? And a man named Damiere Byrd, I think, made an outstanding leaping catch in the back of the end zone to win the game for the Bears in a hostile Seattle environment. And guess what? Nobody fucking cares. Especially not this motherfucker. I'm actually really pissed off that I just wasted 30 to 45 seconds talking about this irrelevant team in my video. Moving on. Number 27, Seattle Seahawks. So the Seahawks got yet another good game from their running back Rashad Penny. And they went ahead and wasted that effort against a terrible Bears team. I mean, the game started off well, right? An explosive 41-yard touchdown pass from Russell Wilson to DK Metcalf. The Seahawks are going to blow the brakes off the Bears. It's known. The problem is, after that opening touchdown, DK Metcalf went into hibernation or something. The Seahawks took a double-digit lead into the fourth quarter, but apparently couldn't withstand the power of Nick Foles. The Bears handed the Seahawks their 10th loss of the season. 10 losses. Something is clearly wrong in Seattle, and I think this offseason is going to be quite entertaining. Number 26, New Jersey Jets. So on Sunday, the Jets played the Jaguars. And during the CBS pregame, Nate Burleson mentioned that this was the first matchup between number 1 overall pick Trevor Lawrence and number 2 overall pick in Zach Wilson. Now that's true. But he went on to say that this is going to be a rivalry in the NFL for a long time. For a long time. A rivalry? Really? When I tell you, I laughed so hard. Oh my God. Listen, if somebody put a gun to my head and said, I need you to bet on this over-under on how many games Zach Wilson will start in his career, I'm placing my money on under 25. And his performance this past Sunday aided my point. This dude was not good. He broke one run for like 52 yards for a touchdown. But what did he pass for? Like 102 yards or so? This is against Jacksonville, the worst team in football. A rivalry for a long time. The Jets did pull out the win. Zach Wilson beat Trevor Lawrence. So I guess Zach Wilson is winning 1-0 in this rivalry for the ages. Number 25, Houston Texans. I've been saying it. When Tyrod Taylor came back from injury and he was named the starter by the Texans, in my rankings video, I actually said that the Texans need to go ahead and start Davis Mills to see what they got in this dude. A few weeks later, the Texans did just that. You need to listen to me sooner, bitches. And Davis Mills has been balling. And this past Sunday, this dude went out and balled out against the Chargers despite missing his number 1 weapon in Brandon Cooks. The Texans behind Mills' arm and Rex Burkhead running the ball. Yeah, Rex Burkhead. The Texans pulled off an upset that absolutely rocked the Chargers' playoff chances. And after further review, Davis Mills has definitely proven that he has a place in the NFL. Number 24, Washington. Ouch. Now, last week in my rankings video, I had mentioned that Washington had been bitch slapped by both the Eagles and the Cowboys in consecutive weeks. Well, I need to take that back because those games weren't shit compared to what the Cowboys did to them this Sunday night. The Cowboys said, come here, little boy, bent them over their knees and spanked the shit out of them like they were their daddies. And I suppose they are. And as if that wasn't bad enough, the clip that everybody's seeing is Jonathan Allen and Daron Payne fist fighting on the sideline. It's not a good look for Washington. It's a good thing your season's over in 2 weeks. Number 23, Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons are 7-8. Like, come on, man. How is this team alive in the playoff race? I'll tell you how. Because Matt Ryan is one of the most underrated players in the NFL. His career is winding down, for sure. But you have to give him credit for what he's doing. He has 7 wins with one of the most limited offenses in the NFL. On Sunday against the Lions, he didn't play flashy. He didn't have spectacular numbers, but he did what he needed to do to get the W. And he keeps his team in the playoff race. Unbelievable. Number 22, Pittsburgh Steelers. Last week, the Steelers collected themselves a big win against the Titans. This gave some serious hope to their fans that this team might do something this year. But this week against the Chiefs, the Steelers look like balloon knot. And in case you don't know, balloon knot means asshole. Because if you ever look at a balloon knot, it actually looks like... Never mind. Oftentimes, teams are either better or worse than what their record suggests. Well, in the case of the Steelers, their record speaks perfectly for the way they've played all year. 7-1, yeah, I'd say that's perfect. If this truly is the final season for Big Ben in Pittsburgh, that means that this game coming up this weekend is going to be his final game in Pittsburgh, final home game. The Steelers close out the season against 2 division rivals, and I'd say a perfect way to send him off is getting 2 dubs and sending the Steelers to the playoffs. Doesn't sound probable, doesn't even sound realistic, but you gotta have faith. Number 21, Denver Broncos. No Teddy Bridgewater equals Drew Lock getting the start. Drew Lock getting the start equals loss. The Raiders know how bad Drew Lock is, so defensively, the Raiders focused in on Denver's run game, and they shut that shit down. I think Melvin Gordon had -4 yards. Now, you got to give credit to Drew Lock because he did not turn the ball over, but he didn't look good. He missed his targets. He made a bunch of bad decisions. And now the Broncos have fallen one game behind the final playoff spot. That season's starting to slip away. Number 20, Cleveland Browns. The ref screwed the Browns for not calling a holding on the final play. Nah, bro. Baker Mayfield screwed the Browns by throwing 4 fucking interceptions. Stop it. There's bad calls in every fucking game. Was Jarvis Landry held on that final play? Sure. But every team can look back and say the same thing. Like, man up. Take ownership. Take accountability that fucking Baker Mayfield sucks. The dude has more commercials aired than he does touchdowns. And it's a shame too, because the Browns defense actually showed up and played well against the Packers. But now the Browns need to win out, and they need some help from other teams. Otherwise, no playoffs for you. But he was hell. Shut up. Number 19, New Orleans Saints. So on Monday Night Football, the Saints were forced to start their 4th string quarterback, Ian Book, against the Miami Dolphins. And on his second pass attempt of the game, Ian Book threw a pick 6. The rest was pretty much history. While the Saints defense played well once again and kept them in the game, the Saints offense couldn't do shit with the ball. With 22 players on the COVID list, it's not a surprise that the Saints were dominated in this game. They remain alive in the playoff hunt, but this game definitely hurt their chances. Number 18, Miami Dolphins. You lose 7 in a row, you win 7 in a row. That's not bad for the Dolphins. In fact, I think I heard somewhere that was the first time that it's ever happened in NFL history. I'm not even sure because honestly, I just don't give a fuck. This win on Monday night against the Saints actually put the Dolphins in a playoff spot. I mean, beating the Saints' 4th string quarterback wasn't exactly impressive, but a win's a win, especially when it moves you into a playoff spot. The Dolphins' final 2 games against Tennessee and New England is going to speak volumes about this 7-game win streak that they're on. Their defense is playing extremely well, no doubt. But that man Tua, we'll see. Number 17, Los Angeles Chargers. Were the Chargers shorthanded on Sunday against the Texans? Absolutely. Should the Chargers have been blown out by the Houston Texans on Sunday? Absolutely not. How could that possibly even happen? Their quarterback is Justin Herbert, the man who moves mountains, the man who turns water to wine, the man who leaps tall buildings in a single bound, blah, 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 blah. Charger fans, they're going to blame this embarrassing loss because they were missing players. And I'm here to tell you that every team is missing players. Most of those teams didn't lose to a 3-win team like the Texans. In fact, some of them actually pulled out victories that they shouldn't have won. So take that excuse, Charger fans, and go scratch. Number 16, Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings on Sunday picked off Matthew Stafford 3 times, and that wasn't enough to win the game. They needed this win, and they didn't get it. Kirk Cousins was harassed all fucking day by Mr. Aaron Donald, including a late sack that took away their chances of tying the game. In order to get into the playoffs, the Vikings need to win out and get some help. Number 15, Baltimore Ravens. If I didn't hate the Ravens as much as I do, I would actually feel bad, but I don't. Injuries and COVID have hurt them so bad that it's almost unfair. As decimated as their secondary is, I'm not surprised that someone went off. 525 yards is a lot, but you knew that Burrow was going to have a big game. With Lamar Jackson out, Tyler Huntley out, they turned to Josh Johnson, who was recently signed from the Jets practice squad. The Ravens' health is going to dictate their playoff chances. Number 14, Las Vegas Raiders. With their second nail-biting win in as many weeks, the Raiders stay alive in the playoffs. They rode the shit out of Josh Jacobs in the second half of that game and got themselves a much-needed win over the Broncos. The Raiders spotted the Broncos 10 points in the first half with turnovers, but yet again pulled out another second-half victory. It's their MO. It's what they do. Whatever you need to do to win, am I right? Number 13, Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles had themselves some fun this weekend against the Giants. Once again, Jalen Hurts does not have a big game passing the ball, but they still managed to put up plenty of points. Once again, Miles Sanders does not get in the end zone. Instead, he leaves the game with a friggin' hand injury and is possibly out for the year. Well, I guess it's a good thing that Boston Scott and Jordan Howard are there because they're pretty good too. The Eagles continue to dominate games with their run game and move into a playoff spot. The bigger thing to note is if they do squeak into the playoffs, the Eagles are going to need to stop making these badass stupid penalties. They had 11 more on Sunday. Just far too many, dude. It's going to need to be corrected. And you put that on the head coach. Number 12, San Francisco 49ers. If you look at the box score for Thursday night's game between the Niners and the Titans, you'd think that Jimmy G had himself a nice game. Nothing crazy, but nice. 74% completion percentage. But if you watch the actual game like I did, you know that his 9 incompletions were absolutely fucking terrible, and were probably the reason why they lost this game. Jimmy G had 2 interceptions, and they were both on him, and they were both ugly as fuck. And speaking of ugly, penalties also killed the Niners. None more so than the false start that they had on 4th and 1 late in the game. A win in this game would have worked wonders for the Niners' playoff chances. Instead, we're left wondering, who are the San Francisco 49ers? Number 11, Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals. This is the second year in a row that the Cardinals start the season off hot, get mad that no one's giving them any kind of respect, then fizzle out in the second half of the season. They've exposed themselves for exactly what they are: frauds. Now here's the thing. On Christmas night, the Colts came into Arizona missing 9 starters. The Cardinals should have won this game. However, mistakes and missed field goals sealed their fate. Earlier in the season, mistakes and missed field goals by the other teams allowed them to win games that they shouldn't have. You remember how they barely beat the Jaguars? You remember how the Vikings missed a 37-yard kick to win the game, giving Arizona a win? It's all about balance and things working themselves out. You got the lucky bounces earlier, and now not so much. The truth of the matter is, this 3rd loss of theirs in a row has balanced their season out and has them exactly where they're supposed to be, looking up in the standings at better teams. Number 10, Tennessee Titans. A.J. Brown returns on Thursday night to the Titans, and wow, what a shot of adrenaline that was. Did you watch that game? Offensively, the first half of that game for the Titans was pure shit. But in the second half, the Titans came out and looked like the 1 seed that they were earlier in the year. A.J. Brown was their entire offense, or so it seemed. The Titans took their first lead of the game in the 4th quarter on an A.J. Brown touchdown, and after San Fran tied the game back up, they drove down the field for a game-winning field goal, with A.J. Brown making big plays. This was an excellent, emotional win for the Titans, who collected their 10th win of the season. Well done. Number 9, New England Patriots. 3 weeks ago, Mac Jones attempted 3 passes against the Buffalo Bills and won the game. They took the upper hand and total control of the AFC East after that game. This past Sunday, the Bills came into Foxborough, and that Bills defense dared Mac Jones to throw the ball. They said, go ahead, win this game with your arm. And the rookie struggled. Mac Jones looked rattled pretty much the entire game. He threw 2 interceptions and was just underthrowing his receivers. All season long, the praise that Mac Jones has gotten was how accurate of a passer he was. Dumping it off to your running backs and short passes to your tight ends will do that. Well, I'm going to say that his accuracy took a tumble after completing only 44% of his passes against the Bills. That New England defense, that number 1 New England defense, was exposed by a Bills offense who was seeking revenge for that terrible game 3 weeks ago. After this loss, the Patriots relinquished the division to the Bills and fall back into a wildcard spot. As of now, they're still in the playoffs, and they're still a great team. But this had to have been an emotional loss for them. Number 8, Cincinnati Bengals. 525 passing yards for Joe Burrow against the Ravens on Sunday. 525. That's the 4th most ever. Joe Burrow is turning into the stud that we all thought he was going to be out of college. T. Higgins, who single-handedly sent me to my fantasy championship matchup, yeah buddy, had himself a monster game as him and the Bengals offense carved up the Ravens' depleted secondary. The Bengals take over first place in the AFC North, and at the moment look like the best team in that division. But we have fallen for this before. This has happened before. The Bengals have had statement wins in the past. We have all anointed them as the AFC North champs, and then they come out and they fucking shit the bed. So I apologize if I'm not 100% confident just yet. I want to see what happens in the final 2 weeks. Number 7, Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills were supposed to easily win the AFC East this year. As we've seen, that clearly hasn't been the case. In fact, they were down 2 games to the Patriots just a short while ago. Josh Allen was picked by many, including myself, to be the MVP of this year. He wasn't even named to the Pro Bowl. 3 weeks ago, the Bills lost to the Patriots at home on a Monday night game. And this week, going into Foxborough, there was not a lot of faith that they were going to go in there and steal a win. However, Josh, motherfucking Allen, once again, flipped the switch and went full-on beast mode. No Cole Beasley, no Gabe Davis, no fucking problem. Little-known receiver Isaiah McKenzie stepped up, filled the void like a fucking gentleman, and late in the game when the Patriots scored to make it a 5-point game, the Bills were driving the ball to put the game out of hand, and fourth down came up. Josh Allen faked the run to the right, took off to his left, juked the shit out of a linebacker, lowered his fucking shoulder, and beasted himself a fucking first down to move the fucking chains like a fucking boss, like an MVP. The Buffalo Bills flipped the script on the Patriots, moved back into first place in the AFC East, and with 2 easy games left in their schedule, might have just locked it up. Now, Patriots fans, you can take the advice from Mr. Stephon Diggs and quietly move on. I'm such a dick. Number 6, Indianapolis Colts. On Christmas night, the Colts went into Arizona to play the Cardinals, and they were missing 9 starters. Few players missing from their secondary, missing arguably their best player in linebacker Darius Leonard. 3/5 of their offensive line was out, including all-world offensive lineman Quentin Nelson. The Colts had no business winning this game. None. Yet, that's exactly what they did. Carson Wentz's performance on Saturday night is precisely why I do not trust box scores. Numbers and stats don't always tell the full story. If you looked at the box score, you know that Carson Wentz had a decent game. But if you watched this fucking game, you know that this was probably his best game as a Colt. He made plays and throws that left me thoroughly fucking impressed. And that bothers me because I hate this man. The Colts are on a fucking roll. No one wants to see them in the playoffs. No one. I know I sure as shit don't. Number 5, Los Angeles Rams. Twice this season, I have started Matthew Stafford over Tom Brady in my fantasy league. And in both weeks, including this past Sunday, instead of playing quarterback, Matthew Stafford decided to stuff his mouth with hairy, sweaty, dirty gorilla balls. For this, I apologize to Rams fans. I won't be starting him ever again. But you have to love the way the Rams rallied around their Detroit Lions QB. You have to love the way they rallied around Matthew Stafford. Cooper Kupp started the game slow, but flipped the fucking switch and suddenly was a beast. The Rams special team chipped in with a fucking punt return for a touchdown. And Aaron Donald put the league on notice to let them know, don't award the Defensive Player of the Year to the Cowboy dude just yet. The Rams clinch a playoff berth with this win, but more importantly, they take over first in the NFC West. Number 4, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Antonio Brown returned to the Bucs right on time. Bucs were missing Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, so getting Antonio Brown back was just perfect. Things always seem to work out like that for Tom Brady. Brown had 10 catches in his return for over 100 yards, for fuck's sake, and he played as if he hadn't even missed a game. With this win, the Bucs win the NFC South for the first time in forever, and it looks like they're ready for another Super Bowl run. Damn it. Number 3, Kansas City Chiefs. Yo, the Chiefs are scary. 7 weeks ago in these ranking videos, I mentioned that the Chiefs will not lose another game this season. While I was just trying to emphasize how good they were playing and bouncing back the way they did, I meant it. And as of right now, I still stand by that statement. The Chiefs are firing on all fucking cylinders, on both sides of the ball. This past Sunday against a tough Steelers defense, minus Travis Kelce, no fucking problem. 36 points thrown on the scoreboard. Defensively, they shut the Steelers down. They had 3 takeaways and held them to 10 points. The AFC West has been won by the Chiefs, and pretty soon that number 1 seed is going to be wrapped up. Arrowhead Stadium is going to be rocking all January, and I hate this. Number 2, Green Bay Packers. Packers continue to roll. On Christmas Day, the Packers welcome in the Cleveland Browns and squeak out a win. They did collect 4 interceptions, which obviously helped, and they played solid defense all around. Aaron Rodgers to Devontae Adams continues to be an unstoppable force. The Packers are not blowing teams out. They're doing what they need to do to win games. And at the end of the day, there's no style points in the NFL. This isn't college football. You just keep on adding W's in the W column. That's what the Packers are doing. Number 1, Dallas Cowboys. Bro, hate on this all you want. I'm a realist. I understand the Cowboys lost 3 out of 4 games that they should have won. I get it. But I have not seen such an impressive performance on both sides of the ball like I did on Sunday night against Washington. Do you remember how terrible the Cowboys defense was just last year? Well, in 2021, it's been the Cowboys defense that's been carrying this team all season long. Well, on Sunday night against Washington, you know, the team that had their fans screaming, "We want Dallas." Well, they got Dallas. And that Dallas D showed up. The bad part for Washington is that fucking offense showed up too. 56 fucking points dumped on your head, plus a tremendous defensive performance. This equals a fucking Super Bowl contending team. Dak Prescott had like 322 yards at fucking halftime. He threw touchdowns to 4 different positions: wide receiver, tight end, running back, and an offensive lineman. With under 2 minutes left to go at half, the Cowboys were up 35-7. So I'm like, all right, shit, man, they're just gonna run the clock out. You know, they're up big. Hell no. They played like they had some shit to prove. And they fucking threw the ball right down the field for yet another touchdown to take a 42-7 halftime lead. What in the actual fuck? Trayvon Diggs gets his 11th interception. Micah Parsons gets yet another fucking sack. A pick 6 into the end zone. Oh shit, this team is scary good. This is a fun time to be living in the Dallas area, let me tell you.